Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm not going to pull any punches. In this one, I'm going to say the B word. It will probably be in a scientific context. I'm not sure what the clinical term is for a female hyena. I'm going to use the term hyena bitch with no apologies. When I was growing up in my hometown, I had a childhood enemy. I think we all have had one or two. This guy was a real piece of work. He let other people punk him. He would turn around and get buck with a few of us, and I was one of those with whom he'd get buck. And even when I stood up to him and fought him, he didn't fully learn his lesson. He never learned to fear me. He and I will never be friends even now in adulthood. It's not going to happen. I don't try to harm him. I don't try to help him. But that's not really important. What's more important to understand is that despite his cowardice, which we men knew about, which we males knew about, the hyena bitches in my hometown loved him, and they upheld him, and they validated him, and they swooned over him, and he had his pick. I will never trust this man, and I won't respect him, but I will say that the hyena bitches in my hometown, despite the fact that we men knew that despite his entertainment value, being able to play basketball well and being a good dancer, he was not really a man. He had no courage. The hyena bitches upheld this dude. They loved him. When he got out of college, he never had to work a day in his life at a real job. He threw parties before he finished college and made money that way. And the same trifling N-words that would not have paid $1 to get into something you and I might have thrown to raise money for cancer, would pay full admissions price to get into whatever venues he would rent out and in which he would throw parties, and then pay full bar price for the drinks because they knew the bitches were going to be there, and the bitches would pay full price to get into his place and into his parties. And the ninjas followed the hyena bitches. But the point is that the hyena bitches upheld this dude and even made him money. He can now afford to send his daughter to a private school. I have nothing against his daughter. I've never met her. But he can afford to send her to a pretty good private school in our hometown. He even, as a matter of fact, once at one of the games, he was on the sidelines one of the games. He was not one of the athletes, but he was on the sidelines as part of the entertainment before he graduated. And the singer Brandy went apparently to one of the games. This is a story that circulated. I was away in Atlanta at the time. And the story goes that she picked him out and they disappeared for a weekend. And when the weekend was over, he had a bunch of new clothes in his wardrobe. You know, one of those weekends where he comes back talking about smell my finger, and that type of weekend. That's what the rumor is. Let me explain to you all this. I'm not hating on him because of this. What I'm telling you is that the hyena bitches were drawn, despite the fact that he is a coward, or was a coward at that point, might still be. They were drawn to him like he was not a coward, like he was a real man, like he had some bravery. I want you to stop and think about this, because you and I know that the messy hyena bitch demands that we be hyper violent and stupidly courageous. But he actually got an exception made for himself. To this day, entertainment is his bread and butter. He's not had to actually work a job, the last I heard. We graduated college in 99 and 2000. I will never respect the black community of my hometown because they upheld this N-word. He could have changed. He could have not changed. I don't care. I will never respect my people within my hometown because they upheld him. I will never respect, especially the black females of my hometown, because they upheld him and they wouldn't even admit this about him. Whereas at least a lot of guys might say, oh yeah, he ain't worth nothing, but his parties are jumping and the B words are going to be there. At least they would admit what he wasn't to a certain extent, but they would still validate him, and that's where I don't forgive them either. So my real grudge is with those that validated him. But the hyena bitch in my hometown is much like the hyena bitch throughout Black America. And that's why they're mad at Mr. Samuels and why they are celebrating his death. You see, they're not only in disagreement with what he said, there's also something else. He went against their rules. They could not cancel him. And he got bigger when he started to tell the truth, which is what they didn't want to hear to them than he ever got when he was telling men what we needed to know, but telling us in the tone in which we didn't need to hear it, as if to somehow blame us for not knowing that these same hyena bitches lied to us along with the TV about what they even wanted from the beginning. When he was saying these things to these men and ripping these men up for not being clairvoyant, these ladies, they loved him, but they didn't make him big. Then he started telling them what they needed to know because he saw what we were talking about, and they could not make him small, whereas he became bigger. And that's really what they hate. The hyena bitch is used to being able to uphold the likes of my childhood nemesis, R. Kelly, who they want to uphold even despite things for which they would find any other man to be disgusting and subhuman. They're still used to being able to make the exceptions they want to make and being able to uphold these guys. And he was an example of how it couldn't be done anymore because we didn't allow it. Because we decided to have more of a moral compass than they did. Even where our wallets are concerned, where we sent the cash apps, where we even clicked on the views that were later monetized and sent in the form of ad revenue to the content creator. Black men, this is why it is that I'm no longer afraid to monetize my channel, not through YouTube. They just don't have the right procedures for doing this where I live. But even just through you, I'm no longer afraid to put in a family account's cash app or to put in my particular crypto wallets. It's because if you do decide to support, you're going to do so financially for the right reasons and not for the wrong ones. Now, I will say this. I think if I had breastises, I'd probably have made a lot more money by now. But I do think that you are going to go against what the hyenocracy is going to do, what they've been trying to do, trying to socially uphold you. See, sisters have been used to being able to socially uphold someone to the point that still the brothers had to support them financially. The boyfriends had to support them financially. The ladies didn't have to come out their own pockets to do it. And we looked at this time, we said, no, he's in our interest, not in yours. We're going to support him, even though you sitting up and saying that we're all kind of 9AY for doing it and we're his little kittens and all this other stuff. No, you don't like him. He must be on the right side of things. Hit the cash app. I'm proud of you, brothers. I'm not happy about him passing away. But I don't say rest in peace because we Muslims don't use that expression. We don't say rest in pain either. We say that we belong to Allah and we return to him. And so I refrain from saying rest in peace. I understand when non-Muslims say it, but I'm not happy. I'm not rejoicing about him passing away. Most of us aren't. And look how many of them are. But there are also a lot of sisters that are sitting up here and admitting that he actually inspired them to make certain changes for the better as well. But just keep in mind, when you see them celebrating, the ones that are celebrating, those are hyena bitches. And they're upset because the hyena bitch clan could no longer cancel who they wanted to cancel for telling them the truth, even though they talked about forgiving certain people like Amber Geiger and Dylan Roof. Shout out to Accountability Commentary for reminding us of that. Thank you for listening again. As always, black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power because they don't like it. And black patriarch until extinction or judgment day.